Hey guys, welcome to Gardening Upbeat and I hope you are doing very well. This video is all about how to store and divide the Dahlia tubers for the next year. Please note that timing may be different based on the place you are from, as in many places they are stored in fall, but in India we need to store it in the spring and this is the best time to do it. Again, this is not only for dahlias, for any other lilies you would be able to do the same thing. I would also inform you a few very important things that we need to do with other lilies such as Asiatic lilies, Gladiolus, etc. So let's start the video now. Here is one of my dahlia plant which is already dead, and that's why we can dig up the tubers and store them for next year. But before doing that, we need to know three very important things. First one is, please allow the plant to die itself and then you can dig up the tubers and store them. But anyway, if it's not dead already, then you can simply stop watering at the end of the season, and that way the plant would be dead within next very few days. This is not a bad thing. You are actually doing good things by not watering. So please don't feel anything bad about it. The second important thing is we also dig up the tubers at the right time and we should not take much more gap. That's why this is the best time to do it, and if you take much more time, let's say if you plan to dig up the tubers in July or even in August month, that time tubers are going to dry out and you are not going to save the tubers for next year. The third important thing is, if you don't want to dig up the tubers, it's absolutely fine. You can keep them in the same pot, but that way you have to maintain a good watering schedule. You would need to water the pot slightly once in 15 to 20 days or else tubers are going to dry out. Alright, let's start the procedure, and first step is cutting the stem slightly above the base. While dividing the dahlia tubers, please be a bit careful as all the tubers have the eyes. At the time of dividing, we should not remove the eyes or else they are not going to sprout next year. Eyes are also found at the joining of two things, that is the stem and the tubers. Unfortunately, I am unable to show you the eyes at this time, but they look like very small bump. So at the time of dividing, I usually divide them along with the stem, and if we do this, we are not going to lose any eyes. Divide the tubers as carefully as you can and make sure that they are attached to the part of the stem. So here you can see all the tubers. I have divided them nicely, and next it's time to store them. To store the tubers, I usually use coco peat, and please note that it should be slightly moist. It should not be dry either, and let me show you one difference here. So here you can see, by looking at the color you can tell it's slightly moist, and here you can see the absolutely dry coco peat. If your coco peat is absolutely dry, then you can sprinkle some water and make it slightly moist. Next, I am using one poly bag here, and before keeping the tubers inside, I am adding some coco peat so that surface of the tubers are not going to stay exposed. Next, insert the tubers, and if possible, please try to keep a gap in between two tubers. Next, add more coco peat and press it lightly. We need to do it so that all surfaces are covered by the moist coco peat. Finally, here I am taking one non-transparent bag and then going to keep the poly bag inside it. As we can see, it's a airtight bag, but I am not going to make it airproof because if I do, the tubers won't be able to breathe well. Instead, tying it with a thread, and that's it, we are done. Next, we need to keep the bag in a dark and cold place, and next year we can plant them at the right time, which is the end of the August. In most cases, there is no need to check the tubers before planting them next year, but still it would be better to check twice or at least once and make sure that coco peat is moist and bulbs are not dried out. Please note that this is not only one method to store the bulbs or tubers. There are many other ways and people use different mediums to store the bulbs or tubers. But this works for me. I do it on regular basis, and let me show you an example with updates. On this footage, you can see me storing the bulbs of Freesia. It was recorded in April 2019, and here you can also see that I have used cardboard box instead of plastic. So you can use either plastic bag or cardboard box. It's also a good idea to label the boxes so that you know what's there inside without opening them. And this is the footage of January 2020. From April 2019 to January 2020, I did not even check the bulbs at least for once. And now let's see how they are looking. Here you can see all the bulbs are looking good and they have also sprouted. None of the bulbs got damaged during that time, but here is one fun fact. Please note that I was too late to plant the Freesia in 2020. January is really very late and we should do it at the end of September or even October. Anyway, I already have a video on Freesia, and if you are interested, you can check out it. But please accept my apologies in advance because I talked way too fast in that video. Alright, I am done with showing you how to store the Dahlia tubers for the next year. Now let's discuss about other lilies. One of the most popular winter lilies is Asiatic Lily. Please note that Asiatic Lily sometimes manage to bloom even in the summer as well, so you can keep them in the same pot and continue caring for them, or else you can shape the bulbs the similar way I have shown you here. The next popular plant is Gladiolus. Similar to Asiatic lilies, they also manage to bloom in the summer. So if you like, you can continue caring for them, or else you can shape the corms the similar way I have shown here. So guys, this is all about how to store and divide the Dahlia tubers for the next year. But in case you don't want to divide them, it's okay, you can save them as it is. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, I would really appreciate if you like it, share it and subscribe to my channel if you are new to gardening upbeat. Thank you very much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Have a great time and enjoy.